Welcome back to Blake Explains. Today we are talking about Zelda Breath of the Wild, and we're going to go ahead and start off with the story. So, Link awakes in a cave, lying in a bed of glowing blue liquid, naked with nothing but some spandex blue trousers. While a woman's voice calls to Link, "Wake up." The liquid then drains out, and Link steps out of the chamber, then walks towards a small pillar sticking out of the ground. It moves, and a slate is then sticking out of the top. The mysterious voice tells you to take it, and that's a Sheikah slate, so that'll guide you. Another chamber opens with some chests that'll have clothes in it, so Link decides to gear up and head out into the world. From here, Link can go anywhere, but there will be places and characters to guide him on his path. For the gameplay, in this Zelda you can jump for the first time since Zelda 2. You can also free climb on almost any surface, but you have a limit to how long you can climb with a stamina bar. Although if you find places to stop on the way, you'll be able to climb higher. The combat in this game is very different because of all the different weapons to fight with and pick up, because every enemy will drop stuff they're holding when they die. This is an open world game, so with this giant world to explore, you can go anywhere when you want. If you wanted to, you could even go to the final boss at the beginning of the game, although you'll probably want to actually play through and get good gear and runes, which are spells for your Sheikah slate. For your inventory, you have things like gear management. So if you get something like a new shield but you don't have enough room, you're going to have to figure out which shield you're going to want to keep and which shield you're going to want to drop. And in the inventory, there is an armor slot for your top and bottom clothing. There is a food slot for all the things you cook and all the things you pick up on the ground. There is an item slot for things that monsters drop. There's a melee weapon slot and a bow and arrow slot. And then the star icon, which is most likely a key item slot, with things like your Sheikah slate there. With interaction in this game, you can do things like wood chopping. So any tree in the game you can just walk up to and either use your axe or a regular weapon. It'll be a little bit harder with a regular weapon, but a lot easier with an axe. There's also stamina, like I was talking about before, for running, climbing, and gliding, and also swimming. Things like boulders you could push to land on enemies or to put in a spot for climbing. You can also burn grass with a torch to unlock a puzzle or hurt enemies, shooting rope to break and drop pots that explode, and other things that have not been revealed. Cooking in this game is used for better healing and buffing items, like potions for stamina increase, speed increase, and just simple healing that can give you extra hearts when you eat it. All of which you'll have to figure out the recipes yourself. So like I was talking about with the cooking, Link can be affected of the temperature and weather. If it's raining, your campfire could go out. If lightning is out, you could get shocked if you're wearing a lot of metal. Also, just the atmosphere with weather can really change your mood and gameplay. Sound in this game is another key feature. You can tell because of the circle on the bottom that shows purple waves. In this game, you might want to take a more stealthy approach because enemies can hear you. If you are just casually walking up behind them, you'll know how much noise you're making by looking at the purple sound waves next to your mini-map at the right bottom hand side. There are many wild animals in this game, such as duck, boar, horses, deer, pigeons, hawks, and bees, which you can hunt for food and materials. The combat of this game comes up with many different types of weapons like we were talking about before. These weapons can break, which is why enemies drop their weapons for you to pick up and use. The weapons are throwable, and when low on durability, will break and do extra damage. Lots of kind of enemies in the game, like some kind of giant Stathos or skeleton creature we see in the trailer, guardians which are like robot spider-like guys, red and blue bokoblins, the ones that are featured in the Great Plateau, and what we mostly see in the demos. Then there's a creature that has a body structure of bokoblin with pig-like features. Then there's the Steppy Talus, is a stone golem, and a Choo Choo Jellies, the slime creatures. Also, some bat guys that fly around when you're vulnerable at nighttime. For the puzzles of this game, there are shrines, which are basically like mini dungeons if you're used to the Zelda series. Each one of these have rewards from them, all having a different puzzle, either to solve with a new ability it gave you or a combination of other things. The map of this game has some different sections that we've seen based on the trailer. There's grassy hill with mountains, some beach sides, snowy mountains and valleys, sandy mountains and mountains, rocky mountains, grassy plains, a giant volcano, and a dense forest. And probably including some others that we didn't see. The plateau in the game is less than 2% of the whole game, and is what we see in the whole demo, and no one should be able to explore with around 30 minutes of gameplay you get in the 2 E3 demos. Towns are not included in the E3 demo, but are in the game for sure. The items in this game are one of which is the Sheikah Slate, and it's used for some special powers, access into shrines, uses a map, uses a binocular to make waypoints. You can also mark enemies and use for runes, such as bombs, which you can use. There's a rounds form and a block form. Then there's a magnet room, which you could use to pick up metal items around the world or stuff to interact in dungeons. And then the items that you can use to interact inside of shrines or outside the world. There's a stasis rune, which is used to freeze stuff in time. You could hit with your weapons to build up energy into these frozen items that will then blast off after it's unfrozen in time. There's also some freeze blocks which you can place on lakes and rivers to make a nice convenient pillar to climb on. There's also a fire rod that you can find in the game, which is fun to use as a magic-like ability, and others that we've not seen. The one-handed weapons of the game are swords, axes, and a Staphos arm. The Staphos arm is included not as a type, but more as just an example of what there could be for kind of swords and things. Two-handed weapons are spears, broadswords, which are two-handed swords, heavy axes, and a bow with some different arrows, such as fire arrows, bomb arrows, and the regular arrows can be lit on fire with torches. You also have shields, which can be used for sledding. There's a glider in the game that you can use to get off the Great Plateau after the old man gives it to you. Spirit spheres are what you obtain after you defeat a shrine, and the old men inside there will give you it. There is some amiibo incorporation into this game, with Wolf Link being able to be tapped onto the Wii U gamepad and used as an ally inside the game. He'll follow you around and attack enemies for you and show you where some items are. There's also 3 amiibo made just for this game. One with Link on his horse, one with Link shooting his arrows, and another one of a guardian. This game has lots of customization, which gets me really excited for this game. So thank you guys for checking this out. If you want to see some other stuff about Zelda or other games, you can go check out some of our other Blake Explains we've done. Also, we have a monthly VXL podcast where we talk about everything that's happened in gaming for the month. So you should go check that out when that comes up on twitch.tv/Zecster. And also recently, I made a Game Grumps animated for fun. So if you want to go see that, you should go check that out too. And see you guys later.